Hi everyone, James here from Linode. So I'm here in Miami at the Acronis CyberFit Summit, and I was walking past the CompTIA stand and I managed to run into a very important gentleman, Wayne Selk, who is the Executive Director of the CompTIA ISAO, and he's kindly agreed to have a quick chat with me about hopefully giving you a little bit of value in terms of what to be looking out for as an MSP in terms of sort of security frameworks and security best practices, but also talk to us about some of the more interesting initiatives around that area that are happening in CompTIA. So, Wayne, pleasure to see you here.
Yeah,
thanks for joining me.
Yeah, welcome. Thanks. Welcome to Florida, and I guess we have this little hurricane brewing out there that is going to be fun for the next couple of days. So
every time I visit, this seems to happen.
Well, then you might not be allowed to visit it. No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe there's a link there. So at the moment, so you're working on some pretty important stuff. Perhaps you can give us a bit of information, or tell the MSPs, give them some guidance around some of the sorts of security best practices that you're looking at, that you'd like to see them adopt as a sort of a standard framework.
Yes. So first of all, I mean, let's level set, right? MSPs are a very unique business entity in and of themselves, right? I say that because they support many different industry verticals with different compliancy, different regulatory requirements, and then you have those that just don't have any of those things on the above. So it's sometimes very difficult for them to even figure out which framework they need to be following at the end of the day, right? There's so many frameworks, and I hear it from MSPs all the time when I'm out at shows like this. Wayne, I want to get started in cyber, but I don't know where to begin. What do I need to start doing inside my own environment?
What's the common standard, right? That's the thing.
There is no common standard for the MSP community today. So, and I say that because, on December 7th, we're actually going to be launching the updated CompTIA's Cybersecurity Trustmark. And the goal for this really is to give MSPs a maturity path to get ready to come into, so a readiness path, a Sherpa to kind of walk them through how to get the programs lined up internally, and then get into the Trustmark, and then figure out, okay, much like Cyber Essentials.
Is it a replacement for Cyber Essentials? Do you see it as a replacement?
No. It's not a replacement for anything else out there from a compliance or regulatory perspective. So the controls that we've actually put together span a broad range of frameworks, right? We're not creating a framework, by the way. We're creating industry accepted best practices, and we've actually added some that are very unique to the MSP community, which are not included in any of the frameworks today. So that's important to understand, right? Because there's some uniqueness around the MSPs that the frameworks just cannot handle at the end of the day. They're more generic, they're more general, focused. And again, the MSP is, what's a good word for that, right? It's you have a lot of moving parts based upon your client base. Very few MSPs are focused on a particular industry vertical, like finance, right? I know of a couple, and I do mean a couple, here in the US that all they do are community banks. Yeah. That's it. Right? But everybody else is kind of like, they have insurance brokers, they've got retail, they've got manufacturing, they do some on the defense industrial base, right? Even in the UK, you guys all do the same thing. Critical infrastructure is another big buzzword flying around right now, especially in the UK. And how do you handle those kind of things? Well, our industry accepted best practices is going to be globally acceptable around the world. Mm-hmm. And really, at the end of the day, it will get you 60 to 70% of the way there for you to finish up the other things that you need. Whether you need to do ISO 27000 or the CAF, right, and align to the principles coming out in the assurance framework, or Cyber Essentials Plus, or pick your poison on a particular framework. We can get you most of the way there. But most importantly, we can protect your organization. Now, nothing is ever 100% guaranteed. You still have to manage and maintain the controls that you put in place, right? But we're trying to provide a maturity path for folks right? It's not just a flip of the switch. You're never going to find a technology that's going to be able to solve for this, right? There's a lot of people, a lot of process, and then some technology that you're going to need to ensure can cover the gaps, right? And our goal here is to raise that awareness and understanding with the MSPs, regardless of where you are across the cybersecurity journey, phase 1, phase 2, 3, or 4, right? And that's really what our initiative is all about.
So this is specifically, it's more a set of controls, isn't it, rather than the policies which can be interpreted. It's specific controls that MSPs should adhere to. And I'm kind of keen to know, is this going to become what MSPs ultimately, is the vision that they'll go straight to this as the sort of de facto, perhaps standard ultimately, and then build on it? Is it the first one they should be doing? Is that the first protocol?
Right. And so remember, there have been other frameworks that are available out there, and so folks have already gone down a path of SOC 2, right? Just as an example. And so, but the challenge there is if you're familiar with SOC 2 Type 2, there's in scope and out of scope. But what we're saying is the MSP as a whole needs to be protected. So in scope is the entire organization. Right. Right. You can't just cherry pick stuff, which is where folks end up going sideways because they miss things, right? You had said something about the policies and actually that's part of the challenge that MSPs have as well, right? I don't care how big or how small you are. Our goal here is to help you align your business objectives to your business risk. So don't look at it from a set of security controls. You first have to identify those two key elements and then build your process or your policies, right? So remember, 3 pillars cybersecurity: people, process, technology. And they do go in that order, by the way.
Often not viewed that way around from my experience, but yeah.
Right. Because everybody thinks they can shortcut the first 2 by just jumping into technology. And you know what? They end up causing an enormous amount of risk to the business when they do that. And they spend a heck of a lot of money implementing technology only to find out later it wasn't what we should have done. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then they have to, when it finally clicks and they go back to the beginning and they're like, oh yeah, we should have started at the beginning anyway. So anyway, we're going to help with all of that, right? We're going to help with understanding why your people first, then your process, and then fill in the gaps at the end of the day.
It sounds like a brilliant initiative, so we look forward to seeing how that pans out. We've got a few minutes left. I have to ask you about the ISAO. Now, we've had a quick chat about this already. Sure. It's one of those elements of the CompTIA membership which offers enormous value, but perhaps isn't that well known. Do you want to give us a quick overview of what the ISAO is and how MSPs can take advantage of it?
Yeah, and thank you for that, right? Because we don't have enough MSPs really taking advantage of this member benefit now, right? So when you join CompTIA as a member, as a service provider, you actually get the ISAO included in your membership. So the ISAO, what my vision for the ISAO, which is why MJ brought me in, is to actually make it the one-stop shop for all of your threat intelligence. Right. So
it's a threat alerting system, basically. Would you say it's pooling information from a number of locations? You explain it.
Yeah, that's part of it, right? So remember, sometimes we deal with 0 day or weirdness happening inside the MSP community as a whole. And you may be the one that they're targeting just to play and see what they can find. You then have valuable information that the intel community does not, right? So we need you to share that information, hence the sharing in the ISAO name, right? Information Sharing and Analysis Organization. We need you to share that information in, right? Have discussion with folks, with other MSPs. Hey, I'm seeing this weirdness. Sophos Intelix is telling me this is kind of weird. My TrueStar, which is Splunk now, by the way, our threat intel platform is kind of highlighting something, but we don't have anything concrete because it's not large enough inside the community. Well, we don't want it to get large, right? We want it to stay small. We want to be able to do the whole Doctor Strange thing and keep the multiverse in a neat little package. so that we don't have that boom event or the blast event if you listen to Tony Thomas. And anyway, so if we can find out about those things faster, we can better protect the community at the end of the day. Right, so that's why it's so vitally important that we have as many folks as possible in the MSP community. If I had one wish, it would be that every MSP is a member of CompTIA, so they can partake in the information sharing side of this, to give the analysts time to help us protect everyone inside the community. An attack on one is an attack on all at the end of the day. Yeah. You know, you might have been the one that got popped, but the rest of us can actually help come to your defense.
Yeah, it's that consolidated approach, isn't it, of everyone's knowledge. I mean, there's already, from what I've seen, there's already a long list of, really reputable sources in there, but it's that extra element of the community coming together that's going to make the difference, isn't it?
Yeah, and so there's one analogy that I like using, right? So I scuba dive, and so one of the things they tell you in your open water class, and even in the advanced open water, because you go a little bit deeper, if you come face to face with a shark, or you see a shark swimming around, you're supposed to make yourself look larger, because the sharks don't want to tackle anything that
I see where you're going.
Bigger than them. Same thing, guys. Right? There's sharks out there swimming in this water, and we can make ourselves look much bigger at the end of the day, and have them go focus on something else.
Wayne, that's brilliant. That's a really nice note to end on. There's a whole other element to this. It integrates with PSA systems. We're going to let the folks find out about that themselves. So for more information, where should any MSPs that are interested in knowing more about the ISAO, what's the first step they should take? Obviously become a CompTIA member if they're not already, but beyond that?
So the best place to start, really, first to sign up or register, you can go to connect.comptia.org. Mm-hmm. In the very upper right-hand corner is a register button. Register there. It takes less than 5 minutes. I swear to God, it's the easiest thing in the world. Whoever does that and puts the credit card in, you are considered the yes member. So then you can add every single one of the employees in the organization to the CompTIA membership. And then there's one other thing that you have to do. After the folks start logging in and get into their CompTIA dashboard, in the lower left is the ISAO. Click on that, and they have to register one more time in order to get access into the ISAO. Now, we do that for a reason, right? Because we do not accept any members, because we do have members from China, Russia, Iran, North Korea, for reasons that go far beyond the conversation here. But you have to register one more time. We will get you in, do an introduction, we'll welcome you into the ISAO, and then poke around, right? The membership team will reach out to you. They'll schedule some time. They'll walk you through all the cool things that you get with your membership, because it's more than just the ISAO. Again, we can save that for another time too. But there's other benefits that you get. 15% off your exam vouchers, 10% off courseware. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, it's amazing at the end of the day what you get for $450.
It's incredible. I love being part of the community, and as does Linode. And Wayne, listen, it's been a pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much for just letting me grab you off the stand and being willing to have a good chat about this. It's been really educational. So thank you. I hope the members find it useful. And I'll see you very soon, hopefully.
Yep, no worries. I'll see you over at Connect.
Yeah, we're on our way. All right, take care. Thanks for watching.